Let me put that onto record and we'll start. Right. Good evening, everybody. This is Sunday, 23rd of October, 2022, and it's now 19:05, thereabouts. This is ZS6IPS opening the weekly link. Guys, I am running a Zoom meeting as well, so if you would like to contact me on 082-859-2684, I'll gladly send you a link, and you can always join us on Zoom as well. Okay, ZS6IPS returning. We usually begin the check-ins on the Rudderport repeater 145.625, and once completed, we continue with the net. So greetings to one and all, and welcome to this week's weekly nets. And if my handheld would stop falling over, I might be able to continue with the net. This net is open to all radio amateurs and members of the public for Zoom in particular. Everyone is welcome to join in and to participate via either the repeater or alternatively via Zoom itself. I'd like to remind all the radio amateur listeners who have not checked in that you do not need to be a member of any group or club to check in or to use the repeater or any of the amateur bands. All that is required from you is that you have a valid ICASA amateur radio license. The license issued by ICASA grants you the rights to use any of the amateur radio bands at any time. And there is no need to ask for or be granted permission from anyone else to do so. As I said, this net is open to all radio amateurs. It's not designed specifically for radio amateurs or the disaster relief cert volunteers. It's open to one and all, including members of the public. And I therefore would like to encourage you all to share the weekly net Zoom link with everyone you know throughout South Africa. Doing so will help us grow the weekly net. It will also contribute to the dissemination of information as far and wide as possible. Okay, ZS6IPS returning. Let's see. It's time to unpack the weekly COVID-19 figures. Globally, the reported COVID-19 figures are 624,502,005, compared to last week, 621 million. This week, we see a total of 3,260,139 new cases having been reported, compared to the 3,278,000 the last week. This equates to a decrease of 18,000 cases compared to the previous week's increase of 107,000. I must in actual fact remind all the listeners that many of the countries have adjusted their reporting and testing protocols. South Africa is one of them, and this could be skewing the figures somewhat. The death toll globally is now at 6,567,070, compared to last week's total of 6,556,907. This is an increase of 10,163 cases, as opposed to the previous week's 10,024. It means we've actually dropped just under 100 on a week-by-week average. The ZS6IPS returning. South Africa, on the other hand, has seen a slight decrease in the new cases for the weekend in the 19th of October, which is week 41. This week, a total of 1,532 new cases were reported with 18 deaths, compared to the previous week's total of 1,519 new cases with 7 deaths. That's a decrease of 58 cases week-on-week average, and a decrease of 11 deaths compared to the previous week's figures as well. Monkeypox is still on the increase globally, with a total of 75,441 cases in total being reported compared to this week, that is, compared to the previous week's total of 73,087. That's an increase of 2,354 new cases this week. But last week, we only saw 1,850. So there's 500 more cases above the average at this moment in time. South Africa, on the other hand, has still not reported any new cases or deaths. And of course, we are standing at 5 cases having been reported previously. Well, as that saying goes, no news is good news, so let's hope it stays that way. Okay, due to the load shedding and everything else, I'm not going to keep the repeater up for much longer. We're going to, in essence, there's not much more to report on, except to say that, of course, we are at stage 4. And for the listeners out there that didn't pick up on the bulletin this morning, Noel Honey is ZS6 NTO, went silently on Friday, I believe it was. So condolences to his family and friends from all of us this side. Let's hear, are there any other check-ins, late check-ins that want to be added to the list for the week? ZS6 IP is standing by. All right, no further check-ins. Therefore, I'd like to thank all those who have checked in this week, as well as those that joined me on Zoom. And of course, to the listeners as well, thank you. Just a reminder that as the COVID-19 pandemic is still ongoing and infecting millions weekly, please remember to physically distance yourself and to wear a mask in order to protect others, especially the elderly, who could lose their lives if they are infected. And it's always best to sanitize and wash your hands on a regular basis in any event. For the week forward, be safe, be prepared, and of course, be happy. This is ZS6 OPS. That is not old pot stirrer, that's old Papa Smurf. Now releasing 145.625 for general use. Cheers all. Okay, well, yeah, how's it, Albert? Nice to hear that you're up and you were listening. That was Noel Honey, Zulu Sierra 6, November Tango Oscar. And I also need to acknowledge Crystal has joined on Zoom as well. Back to you, Albert. I'm on handheld due to the load shed. ZS6 OPS. Thanks, Albert. Catch you later. Have a good one. ZS6 OPS clear.